Hey guys, Chase here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Splatfest. I've made some Splatfest related videos in the past, mainly just complaining about Tricolor mirror matches, but today we're going to talk about Splatfest a bit more generally. You see, after the recent frostyfest, there's been yet another uproar of people saying that Splatfest needs changes. I just see more and more people complaining that Splatfest is stale and boring now, and Nintendo should do something to spice it up. And just because I know there's going to be some naysayers in the comment section, let me just clear some things up before progressing with the video. Whenever this subject is brought up, a lot of people are very quick to say something along the lines of, well, just because people on Twitter are complaining about Splatfest doesn't mean that the entire community has a problem with it. And yeah, that's a fair point, except it's not just Twitter. I've been seeing more complaints on YouTube, Reddit, and even places like TikTok. Basically anywhere online where people can talk about Splatoon, I've seen complaints about the monotonicity of Splatfest. Now, some other people might say, Chase, you're exaggerating. There's no way that majority of Splatoon social media has an issue with Splatfest. I think you're just bluffing for the sake of the video. Again, fair point. Maybe my social media feed just naturally shows me more negative discussions than anyone else's. So just to be sure, I made some polls. As some of you here on YouTube might have seen, I made a YouTube community poll as well as a Twitter poll. Of course, I'm not the biggest Splatoon creator or anything, but I would say that I have a decent reach in the community. I asked, genuine question for all of you. Do you enjoy Splatfest the way that they currently are? Factor in everything with your answer. It being turf war only, tricolor battles, the way the results are calculated, it being 3 days long, etc. With a combined total of almost 8,000 votes, exactly 80% of people expressed some form of dissatisfaction with the way that Splatfest currently are, on both polls. I actually thought it was pretty crazy that both polls had near identical numbers, but I guess that's pretty telling on how the community feels. And yes, I know that 8,000 people does not represent the entire player base, that's pretty obvious, but I do think that's a pretty decent sample size, especially since my audience consists of many different types of players, ranging from casual Splatoon fan to hardcore competitive player. As you can see from the polls, the most popular option was, I don't enjoy Splatfest now, but with some changes I might. So that's what I wanted this video to be about. Let's go over the main issues people have with Splatfest and how Nintendo can fix them. On these polls that I made, I encouraged people who picked the second option to comment what exactly they want changed about Splatfest, and a few hundred people did. I read through all of them, and the results were pretty interesting. To absolutely no one's surprise, the most common complaint that people had is that Splatfest don't have Anarchy battles, it's only turf war. For almost 9 years now, we've been stuck with only turf war during Splatfest. Come on, Nintendo. Like, yeah, turf wars should definitely be a part of the fest, since that is the main mode of the game, but purposely restricting players to only that mode has always been ridiculous. I really thought that by Splatoon 3, the devs would have learned that a large majority of the player base doesn't like this. But they're set on keeping Splatfest turf war only, I guess. Well, hey, at least in the second half of the Splatfest, we have tricolor battles now, right? Yeah, that's actually probably the second most common complaint people had. Tricolor battles are cool in concept, but their execution is horrendous. As those of you who've watched my videos before know, mirror battles are one of the mode's biggest issues, and lots of people seem to agree. I'm not going to get into that whole topic again because I'll just be beating a dead horse at this point, but I highly encourage you to go watch my previous videos talking about it if you want to hear my thoughts. I'll link those in the description. Mirror battles were the most common complaint about Tricolor, but what got nearly the same amount of complaints are the stages. I think it's safe to say that about 80% of the Tricolor maps that we've had so far suck. There have been a couple good ones here and there, but generally, the game's maps just don't work well for the mode. Lots of people say that the best Tricolor stage that we've had was the Triforce stage during the Zelda-themed Splatfest. Do you know why that's most people's favorite map? Because it was its own unique thing. They didn't just take an already existing map and slightly alter it to accommodate for Tricolor. I know the Triforce map was technically Scorch Gorge, but that was really just the background. The actual stage was unique. And sure, it was super simple and small, but It worked. It was fun. And isn't that what Splatfest is supposed to be? This actually leads us into the next most common complaint, which is a lack of uniqueness for every Splatfest. Lots of people express that they miss the shifty stations from Splatoon 2, and I totally agree. For those who don't know, every Splatfest in Splatoon 2 had its own unique stage, all going by the name Shifty Station. I'm not kidding, pretty much every Splatfest had a brand new, unique stage with a special gimmick. Sure, some of them weren't that great, but that was all part of it. It was something to look forward to every fest, and it gave each one its own unique feel. Whereas in Splatoon 3, the only thing that's really unique between each Splatfest is the themes. That's yet another great segue into what will be the final issue that we discuss in this video, the theming. A lot of the Splatfest themes so far in Splatoon 3 have just been, for lack of a better word, lame. Aside from the fact that countless Splatfests have resulted in one team being severely less popular than the other two, many of the themes are just kinda boring. Like, for example, rock versus paper versus scissors, gear versus grub versus fun, Nessie versus aliens versus Bigfoot. Huh? So many of these themes are just so bland and basic, especially compared to the previous games fests. And sure, now that there's 3 teams instead of 2, it's certainly more difficult to come up with good themes. I understand that. But I've literally seen fans online suggest way better 3-way themes than some of the ones that we've gotten. Plus, a lot of the themes that are decent are just reused ones from Splatoon 2, but they just add on a third choice so it works with this game. Hell, even the most recent frostyfest did that. Friends vs. Family was already done in Splatoon 2, but they decided to bring it back and just add solo as a third team and call it a day. Aside from those rehashed Splatoon 2 themes though, a lot of people don't care enough about these subjects to really be passionate about a certain team, so they'll end up just picking whichever team corresponds to their favorite idol. Which, if you ask me, kinda defeats the whole point. And I'm not blaming people who do that, I understand completely. That's why many people are complaining that the theming needs to be better, so therefore more people would be inclined to care, and it also might result in less blowouts like so many fests we've gotten to this point. So that's going to be it for the issues that I'm going to discuss in this video, but the list certainly doesn't stop here. There were quite a few other frequent complaints in the comments I was reading, such as Tricolor still only being available in the second half of the fest, to non-region locked fest results being heavily skewed by Japan. There's so much more that I could talk about, but I don't really want to make an hour-long video about Splatfest, so I think this is a good stopping point. But I do want to know how all of you feel. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the points that were brought up in this video, and also let me know if there's any other issues you're passionate about that weren't mentioned in this video. As always, if you enjoyed, please like and consider subscribing. We are so close to 30,000, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me recently. Again, once we hit 30K, I have a very special video planned, so I hope you'll all look forward to that. With all that being said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.